Hey everyone, and welcome to episode 28 of the Skull Mug, the show in which I drink beer and talk about random bullshit, pretty much whatever the fuck that I decide is an interesting enough topic to discuss. This is the first episode of 2022, hopefully the first of many, and on this episode we are going to be drinking Vinland, yes, from Le Caveau de Trois-Pistoles. I'll show you the artwork here really quick. Seems to be an elvish warrior wielding a beer and an interesting looking knife there on the bottom. It's got this purple can, really interesting design. I certainly like the artwork, and I definitely like the title, of course, being from Newfoundland, which is also called Vinland depending on who you talk to. That's the supposed ancient name for the island when the Vikings first came over and were the first European settlers to arrive in that area. Now, it is disputed. Vinland could potentially mean somewhere in Greenland, somewhere in Iceland, somewhere else in North America. It's even postulated that it could be somewhere on the east coast of the United States, like in the New England area, or possibly somewhere else in Canada, like Nova Scotia or PEI. But most evidence points to it being Newfoundland, specifically because of Lansdowne Meadows, which is the first Viking settlement, one of the oldest Viking settlements in all of North America. So this is it's a raisin flavored beer, or rather maybe a grape flavored beer. I'm not sure because this is it's all in French. It's 5%, and it's a Kveik or a Kveik, a Kveik. I'm not sure how you pronounce that type of beer. It's Kveik. I can't really read to you what's on the back of here because it is all in French. There is no English translation. I do see a reference to Leif Erikson and the god Freydis and fighting the Skraelings. Skraeling is an old Viking word that means weakling, which was used to describe Native Americans, so that's a little unfortunate language in the back of here. But I mean, it's being used in a historical context, so I'm not going to get too bothered by that, but let's crack this thing open. Ooh, and it actually has a purple tint on the inside. That's cool. Ooh, that's sour. Alright, let's pour this baby. I don't know if you can see the purplish, pinkish tint there on the camera. I hope it shows up. But it looks very appetizing. And I promise you it tastes good too. Let's put the rest over here. But yeah, it's obviously brewed in Trois-Pistoles, which is maybe like a couple of hours away from here, I think. It's one of those smaller towns slash cities that's like on the outskirts of Montreal, like in the Montreal area, I think. Of course, its name in French, it means three pistols. I know one person from there, and he's a fucking asshole. I hate him. Alright. Yeah, there's definitely a sour as fuck taste to this. It's very grapey, almost citrusy, but like not quite. It's definitely more in the vein of grapes, raisins, maybe prunes, possibly apricot as well, like that kind of family of fruit. That's kind of the kind of taste it has. And yeah, the color of this literally looks like grape crush, like a soda. So it's interesting that they chose to name this one Vinland. I don't really know what association Newfoundland has with grapes. There are no vineyards in Newfoundland, I can tell you that. There might be some wine brewed there, like there is a winery at one part in St. John's, though I don't think the grapes are grown locally because it's just not the kind of climate for it. Maybe they're imported, but I don't know. So anyway, on this episode, I wanted to talk about my recent vacation to Newfoundland. I was going to say vacation in air quotes, but it was a vacation. You know, I took time off work to go home. And unfortunately, despite how excited I was to go and how looking forward to it I was, because of just, you know, getting away from the city is something that I really like to do. Whenever the opportunity presents itself, I mean, living in a city in a vast urban area like this can get pretty mind-numbing after a while. Especially when you're just working all the time in the middle of a pandemic when you can't really do much else beyond work. It gets really old really fast. So I really like going home to Newfoundland, you know, to my parents' place, and just kind of existing in nature / existing in an area that isn't just giant urban sprawl for like a week or whatever. But unfortunately, when I went home, literally the day before I left, the Omicron variant of COVID started making everything a living hell for everybody. Things started shutting down, restrictions started going back into effect. So I spent most of my holiday vacation in Newfoundland just stuck in my bedroom, my old bedroom from high school, just like watching movies alone by myself. Of course, I hung out with my folks a little bit. You know, I gotta see them. I mean, that's part of the reason that I go home. But I still spent most of that time just like by myself in my room. There will be a travel vlog uploaded to this channel at some point soon. I just have to finish filming like the last segment of that, because ever since I've been back in Montreal, it's just been like, you know, full tilt back into doing stuff like hanging out with people, doing things that I'm obligated to do. So I haven't really had much time to sit down and finish that vlog, but it will be uploaded soon. But yeah, so I watched a shit ton of movies. I watched The Matrix Revolutions. Well, I finished watching the entire Matrix trilogy, which I had started before I flew back home. But I watched Revolutions when I was there so I could watch Resurrections, the new Matrix film, and honestly, I fucking loved that movie. I thought it was fantastic. There's a lot of naysayers online saying that they hated it, and maybe I'm insane for liking it, but maybe everyone else is just stupid. I really like that movie. I thought it was fucking awesome. I also watched the documentary American Movie, which I highly recommend to everybody. It's a fantastic little film about a low-budget, like, indie filmmaker who lives in, I want to say, Wisconsin, and he's just like trying really, really hard to make his vision of filming, you know, his own feature-length film come true, and he runs into all these money problems, and it's just a really heartwarming, enlightening film. I just highly recommend it to everyone, especially people who are artists. I think you can get a lot of inspiration from the story of Mark Bouchard. What else did I watch? I watched Mandy for the first time. Fucking awesome movie. Probably one of Nick Cage's best performances ever. At least it's my favorite of his. And because I watched Mandy, I also ended up watching Vampire's Kiss, which I think is Nick Cage's first ever role. Like not his first ever role, but his like breakout role. Like the movie that pretty much propelled him into Hollywood fame. And I really, really enjoyed that. I thought that was a really entertaining watch. It's a little bit of a slow burn, but it definitely ramps up towards the end. What else did I watch? I watched the new Resident Evil movie, Welcome to Raccoon City, and Jesus fucking Christ, that was a pile of shit. One of the worst movies I've seen in a very long time. Definitely the worst film that I had seen in all of 2021. Hands down, utter dog shit. CGI was awful, acting was awful, the story was garbage. It felt like a relic from 2005, like, you know, like Underworld or one of the early Resident Evil movies, or like House of the Dead or some shit, like some garbage, like low tier action movie that's trying so hard to be super cool and to be like a Matrix-esque, fucking awesome, genre-defining action movie with like cool martial arts and gun things, but it just completely failed in every aspect to accomplish that. Also, probably the worst explosions I've ever seen committed to screen, at least to a big budget movie like that. I think that movie cost like something like $37 million to make, like, and that's just disgusting. It's like a fucking waste of money to create a pile of shit like that, like absolute garbage. What else did I watch? There was definitely some other movies that I watched, but I'm kind of struggling to remember them at the moment, so I'll just dispense with that. But beyond that, I did get to hang out with some of my old friends from back home, including my friends Aaron, Caroline, and Leah, who are my old bandmates from a band called Defense Force. Now, those of you who know me personally probably know that Defense Force was the first band that I was ever in. We formed that band back in high school. I think it was either 2008 or 2009, and it was the band that pretty much taught me how to play instruments. Like, I was mostly the drummer in that band. I didn't do much else, but it was my first real exposure to like being behind a real drum set, playing real music with other people. Before that, I had only ever played drums via Rock Band. I didn't have my own drum set at the time, but being able to do that with them was a super fun experience. And we ended that project, I believe, in 2011. That was the last album that we did as Defense Force. And basically what we would do is we would just get together in Caroline's basement, and she had some music gear there. We would bring whatever other things we needed, like guitars and microphones, computer to record shit, whatever. And we used her dad's enormous book collection to look for like funny titles that just sounded like vaguely evil or satanic, like the number of the beast, or not the number of the beast, sorry, that's an Iron Maiden song. Name of the Beast was like a book that her dad had down there that we just took the title from. And what we did was we took the book and then we opened it up to like a random page, and Caroline would just scream passages from the book as the lyrics to the song. And as we went on later, we would actually write our own lyrics to different songs, but that was like kind of how it started. And we decided this year, I think it's 10 years down the road, or maybe a little bit more than that we were finally going to get back together and do a Defense Force reunion. So we hung out, I think, 2 days before I left to fly back here, me, Aaron, Caroline, and Leah, and we recorded a brand new Defense Force record, which Aaron is currently mixing right now. I mean, my friend Aaron, by the way, not my partner Aaron. They have the same name. It's neither here nor there, but just for clarification. So hopefully that record comes out soon. I'm really excited to hear the finished product. Because it's the first new Defense Force music in 10 years. And I have been fighting for a Defense Force reunion for so fucking long, and finally got them to agree to it this year. So that pretty much sums up my Newfoundland vacation. I don't really have much else to talk about because the whole time, aside from that one day, I was holed up in my room because of Omicron. Fuck this fucking pandemic, man. I'm going insane. Holy shit. Year 3, folks. Year fucking 3. Anyway, thanks for watching. This has been the Skull Mug, and I will see you in the next one. Peace out. Cheers.